Vineyard and Nantucket. Of course, our other focus is what's happening with Maria as it moved across Puerto Rico. It is now going to be emerging to the north and west and staying out over water well to the northeast. But you can see how the swell still comes up into the Gulf Stream because of that system. Some of those wave heights well offshore, around 6 feet, whereas they're not so bad inland. But then we go down to see Maria and some of the swells with that just on the frame of view here, going down towards Hispaniola and Puerto Rico, and some of those wave heights on the order of 10 to 20 feet near the center of circulation. So we're going to have some rough seas for us by the time we get into progression of it. You can see that historical track, and the northwesterly motion is eventually going to be curving off to the north, keeping it well to the east of Florida, but just battering Puerto Rico today with winds well over 100 miles per hour. It should weaken as it moves to the north, but still the effects are going to be felt in the form of rough surf and high seas in the water surrounding the storm. You can see what that's doing to the wave heights on the scale right here, with the wave heights between 10, 20 feet, if not higher. And some of those will spread through the Bahamas up towards the Florida coastline by this weekend. But we don't have to worry about the rain or the wind. The storm is going to stay well to the to the east of us. But the high winds that are showing up here to the north of Puerto Rico and to the north of the Dominican Republic, you can see how the track of where those are going to be over the next day or two will impact the Turks and Caicos, especially the eastern side, but most of the Bahamas should be spared the strongest winds. Will definitely be Puerto Rico and moves away into the water very shortly. But don't forget, there's another system out there too. That is Jose to the south of New England. A much weaker storm, but still one that's capable of beach erosion and rough surf for Cape Cod, the islands, also rain and wind. We'll talk about that more in a moment. But let's focus on Maria with winds of 140 miles per hour, moving to the northwest at 12. So it's a very symmetrical storm still, very well organized, but it is forecast to, after it moves off to the northwest and then takes a track to the north, then it will weaken and lose some of its intensity, but that won't happen for several more days. Look at the forecast track, keeping it as a major hurricane, which is 3 or greater, as it passes to the east of the Bahamas right here. And of course, we're Florida, located well to the west of the forecast track, so we are going to watch for any changes in this. But models are in very good agreement, especially when you see all of them very close together, each one of these lines representing where the center of circulation may go. And whenever you see them close together, that means there's good model consistency and you can have more confident forecasts based on that track. But in the meantime, this is just a devastating situation with the winds that have been over 100 miles per hour that extend out about 60 miles from the storm center, being the hurricane force winds. So on the east side of the storm, Puerto Rico and also parts of the Virgin Islands facing tornadoes today, just like we had with Irma. Then the other system is much weaker, but winds are still at 70 miles per hour. Once it gets to 74, then you have a hurricane. But Jose, a tropical storm as of the latest advisory, it's moving to the northeast and it's still going to stay out over water in terms of the center of circulation. This forecast track doesn't really look like a cone because between now and Saturday, it's not going to make much progress in terms of forward motion. If anything, it's kind of loop around and meander to the south of Cape Cod and Nantucket Sound. And while it does that, it will still create rough surf and beach erosion. Models are in somewhat of a disagreement about the exact loop, but it does keep it off the coast for the time being. So back here to Florida.